Hello and welcome. In this episode, we dive into deeper understanding the reflective light. I will show you how to avoid the most common mistakes in painting reflective light. Let me demonstrate on this portrait that I recently painted. I'm going to try to reflect the light coming from her yellow dress to the bottom plane of the shadow of her chin. First, I'm going to show you a common mistake that you want to avoid. If I take a very similar color and value that I've used in my dress and just put into the shadow of the chin, you can see how disturbing that reflective light is inside of the shadow. And you can see how it breaks the shadow in too many pieces, and it doesn't look like it's illuminating the shadow and flows inside of the shadow. So there is quite a few mistakes in this one brushstroke. One, it's too light, it's too colorful, it's too sharp, and there is no movement from more light to less light. So all of those are mistakes that are done in painting reflective light. When you paint reflective light, number one is to understand how much light that shadow can use. If the shadow shape is small and already close relationship to the light shape, you can't put too much into it without pulling it apart. So let's get back first to darker shadow shape. So it comes across the chin and it pulls back to the neck, and we make it nice, dark, and solid. I would just think how important the shadow shape and how much attention do I want to attract by putting more light into it. And in my opinion, I just want a little bit of the whisper of that light back into the shadow. So there is a dialogue of the light and the shadow, but it's very quiet and you can hardly hear what it's saying. In order to create that, instead of white, this yellow, I would take a warm yellow and I would even warm it up by adding more red into it. And the first thing I would create is a softer feel of just a little bit more light coming in. And as it moves away from its light source, it's becoming weaker and weaker. So my touch, my brushstroke is very soft and not pushing into the paint. So it doesn't release a lot of paint into it. And then this will be my flow of light. And then I will take a little bit more of yellow, add into my flow, and create a star, a little hit, and then lift up the brush gently. And then just soften the edge even more. And so what you notice is that now, compared to the other stroke, this stroke has a flow of more light to less light, that descriptive of the movement of light, shorter distance more, longer distance less. It is very soft and it's warm, and therefore the warm temperature inside of the warm shadow connects, and the softer edges help to connect it even more. Helps the light look like it's disappearing into it. And just a little piece of it being stronger gives us enough information where the light is coming from, why it's yellow color, because the object is yellow reflecting into it. And it feels like it lives inside of the shadows, and it illuminates and glows in a very quiet way without pulling the shadow apart and breaking the darkness of it. And I can even make it softer. And that to me, to my taste, feels better. In a shadow, we will do less. We will be quieter, darker, softer, warmer, to create harmony between the reflective light and the shadow itself. So this will become unified, supporting the light and be different from the light. Again, the worst thing you can do is to distract from the light by putting and doing too much in the shadow.